The sky above the frontier station glowed with the soft shimmer of passing star currents, and the patrol deck lights flickered as the night cycle began. Among the small team assigned to the isolated outpost stood a young human named Rion. He had joined the Interspecies Cooperation Corps only a few months earlier, hoping to see more of the galaxy and serve in a meaningful way. Life on the frontier was slow most days, and the missions often involved mapping new routes or escorting trade vessels. Yet there was something peaceful about the place, something that made the long silences feel almost comforting. Rian liked that calm rhythm, even if he knew it would not last forever. One late rotation, an emergency beacon pierced the silence. Alarms pulsed across the station, bright red flashes bouncing across metal walls. Rian rushed to the command terminal, where the officer on duty struggled to stabilize the signal. The message came in jagged bursts, barely readable. It was from a vessel belonging to a distant alien kingdom, known for its strict traditions and powerful fleets. The officer explained that the ship held a royal family member traveling through the region and that pirates had ambushed the craft near a scattered asteroid cluster. The emergency route was too unstable for larger ships to navigate quickly, but a small rescue pod could slip through. Volunteers were requested at once. Without hesitation, Rian stepped forward. He climbed into the small rescue craft with only a lightweight suit, a tracking beacon, and a portable shield device. The pod launched into the starless gap beyond the station, and soon the outpost was just a faint glimmer behind him. The asteroid field loomed large, drifting like ancient stones caught in slow motion. Rian focused on the distress coordinates and guided the pod between the jagged towers of rock. It was a path filled with danger, but he kept moving. He did not know who was aboard the damaged ship or what threats might be waiting, but he refused to let fear guide him. The wrecked vessel appeared soon after. It drifted slowly, its hull scorched and broken. Several of its lights flickered, and an external hatch had been torn open. Rian guided the pod closer and locked onto an emergency rail along the side. He stepped out, activated the shield device, and moved into the dim corridor. The interior smelled of burnt circuits and ozone. Sparks snapped from loose cables. There were signs of a struggle, but no bodies in sight. A faint cry echoed through the hallway. Rian followed it cautiously. He found a small child of the alien species hiding behind a collapsed panel. The child had pale skin with delicate patterns that glowed faintly in fear. Rian crouched and spoke softly, offering his hand. The child hesitated, but reached out. When Rian lifted the small figure, the child clung tightly to his shoulder. An explosion rocked the ship as nearby pirates returned, trying to salvage whatever was left. Rian shielded the child with his body and sprinted down the corridor toward the rescue pod. Pirates turned the corner, but Rian activated the portable shield. A wave of energy rippled ahead, buying him the time he needed. He dove into the pod and sealed the hatch behind him. As he launched away from the collapsing vessel, the pirates tried to follow, but the asteroid field slowed them down. The rescue pod weaved between drifting stones until the station came into view again. The crew rushed out as soon as Rian landed, taking the frightened child into safe hands. Rian stood silently as medics checked on the young alien. When the child reached for him again, Rian knelt beside the small figure and offered a reassuring smile. Word of the rescue traveled quickly. The alien kingdom had deep respect for courage and loyalty, and their fleet entered the region soon after. At the head of the royal escort was the queen herself, a tall and graceful figure with markings similar to the child's, but far brighter. Her presence filled the docking bay as she approached the station's officers. After a brief ceremony, she asked to meet the one who had saved her child. Rian was called forward. The queen studied him quietly. Her gaze held both strength and deep gratitude. Rian bowed slightly, unsure of how to behave in front of royalty, especially royalty from another world. Yet she approached him gently. Her voice was calm as she asked about the rescue and how he had found her child. Rian explained everything in simple terms, emphasizing that any member of his crew would have done the same. The Queen shook her head with a faint smile. She said his courage had gone beyond duty and that he had risked his life with no assurance of success. Rian felt a bit embarrassed, but accepted her words respectfully. The Queen extended her hand toward him. She explained that in her culture, someone who saved a royal child was honored with a rare title, one that bound the rescuer to the royal family as a guardian. Before Rian could speak, the child rushed forward and hugged him again. The Queen observed the moment and declared that Rian was now under royal protection and invitation. She insisted that he travel with them to their capital world to be honored properly. Rian hesitated. He had never imagined being claimed by an alien queen or offered any kind of royal title. Yet refusing would be seen as disrespectful in their culture. After consulting the outpost commander, who encouraged him to accept the rare opportunity, Rian agreed. The Queen gave him a look of satisfaction, and the child cheered softly. Soon preparations began for the journey. The royal ship was unlike any vessel Rian had ever seen. It was vast, its interior filled with flowing architecture that seemed almost alive. The corridors glowed gently with shifting colors, and the air held a calm fragrance. Rian was guided to a private guest chamber where soft lights activated when he entered. He stayed still for a moment, trying to take in the reality of his situation. A simple patrol officer, now traveling on a royal flagship as a guest of honor. The thought felt unreal, but he reminded himself that all of it had begun with a child needing help, and a decision made without hesitation. During the journey, the Queen invited Rian to join her for meals and discussions. She asked about human values, how humans viewed courage, and whether fear had crossed his mind during the rescue. Rian admitted that he had felt fear, but he had pushed it aside because the child needed him. The Queen listened intently and seemed moved by the honesty. She explained that in her people's history, a guardian was seen not only as a warrior, but also as a symbol of hope. She told him that the title she intended to bestow upon him was more than ceremonial. It meant trust, responsibility, and a deep connection between the guardian and the royal family. Rian took her words seriously and spent time learning about their customs. He practiced their gestures of respect and listened to stories of past guardians. The child often visited his chamber, eager to show him toys or teach him simple phrases in their language. Rian found himself growing protective over the young figure, feeling an attachment he had not expected. Whenever the ship entered a rough patch of star currents, the child would hold his arm, and Rian would reassure them calmly. When the ship arrived at the capital world, Rian felt awe settle over him. The planet shimmered with crystal towers and soft oceans that glowed under the light of 3 moons. The royal palace stood atop a ridge overlooking the central city. The Queen led Rian inside, and ceremonial drums echoed through the hall. Hundreds of citizens gathered to see the human who had saved their future heir. The ceremony began with chants, delivered by robed attendants. They spoke of courage crossing borders and the rare honor given to one who placed another's child above their own safety. Rian walked beside the Queen as they approached a glowing platform. The child walked between them, holding their hands. When the Queen raised her voice to address the crowd, her words carried warmth and pride. She declared that Rian had shown the values her people cherished most. Then she placed a ceremonial band upon his arm, signifying his new status. After the ceremony, the Queen invited Rian to a quiet garden behind the palace. The air shimmered with soft blue lights emitted by floating plants. She thanked him again, not as a queen but as a mother. Rian said he had only done what he felt was right. She stepped closer and gently placed a hand on his shoulder. She told him that his bravery had touched her heart and that she wished to strengthen the bond between them. She explained that in her culture, claiming someone as a guardian was also a gesture of deep honor and personal trust. It made the individual part of the royal family in spirit and duty. Rian felt overwhelmed, but also grateful. He assured her he would honor the role given to him. The queen smiled softly and said he had already proven his character. As the child ran toward them, laughing in joy, Rian felt something warm settle in his chest. He realized that his life had changed forever. He was no longer just a patrol officer stationed on a distant outpost. He had become the guardian of a royal child and a trusted figure to an alien queen. Over the next several days, Rian adapted to his new role. He trained with palace protectors who taught him advanced techniques for defensive tactics. He learned how to wield energy devices shaped by their unique technology. He also studied ancient codes that defined the honor of a guardian. The queen sometimes watched his training sessions with quiet approval. The child often stood by her side, cheering for Rian whenever he completed a difficult exercise. Rian did not fully understand why the queen seemed to watch him closely, but he felt her respect in every glance.